16. The Night to Remember. Claudia. Shapes danced on the walls of the room. Shadows were brought to life by the light of the moon shining in from the opening of my window. I pressed my eyes closed tightly, turning my body away from the light. My heart was beating in my head. Sleep would not come to me. I turned back to face the window. A breeze welcomed the shape on the ledge. I sat up in the darkness. I wanted to call out to John or Joseph, but they had vanished. I was alone. My lips froze, and my hands trembled. I didn't want to move. I stared at the shape leaping from my window onto the floor of my room. It disappeared for a moment in the darkness. I felt it coming closer. He materialized and slowly came upon my bed and climbed in. I fell back against the headboard. "Please, go to sleep," I begged myself. The sleeping pill Joseph had given me was not working. "Please work." "My pet," Quentin hissed. "I've been patient. I've been very patient. Don't you realize I need you?" "No, I don't know. Why? Why me?" I asked, my lips quivering. "Because you're mine," he said. I trembled as he neared. His eyes were hypnotic, drawing me to him. I couldn't resist any longer. I didn't want to and wondered why I ever had. "No," I told myself. Something inside me fought against the urge to give up and give in. But why would I want to resist? "John!" I gasped. "Why fight, my pet? Why fight when you want to be with me? And I most definitely want to be with you." "John!" my mind cried. "Don't you want me?" he asked, grinning. "John!" Quentin extended his hand to me. "Come to me. Come away with me forever. For all eternity," he hissed. My eyes suddenly felt heavy. "John!" "Claudia! I'm here. His mental voice soothed me, and I passed out once more. I rose to find Michael opening the drapes. I saw him as I raised a hand to block out the sunlight coming into the room. I drew the bedsheet over my head. God, that pill had worked way too well. John was gone now. I said nothing about the previous night, knowing that Joseph and John had said they would not remember. In a way, that was a good thing. John being here so late and falling asleep in the same bed with me would not have gone over well. The heat of desire at the thought of that moment rushed into my face. "Michael?" I blinked and lowered the sheets, taking a quick, curious look at him. "Good morning." He looked okay. He curiously glanced over. "You left the bedroom window open last night," Michael scolded, closing the window up. I pulled the bedsheet away from my face and caught him turning as I sat up on the side of the bed. He came over and stood before me. "How did you sleep?" he asked. I glanced up at him, still trying to wake up. "Hard," I managed. Michael blinked at my response. "You must have been tired last night." He took a pause, silent for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. "What happened last night?" he asked. It caught me off guard, although it shouldn't have. It only made sense if he couldn't remember the actual events of the evening, he would wake confused. I smiled up at him like he was a crazy old man. "What do you mean?" I innocently asked. "Oddest thing. I can't remember last night at all." "Seriously?" I said. I felt a stirring of confusion coming from him. Michael knew he had a party. He had the images of us gathering, then nothing. His mind was a blank slate. "We had John and Joseph over for dinner. We ate, you and Joseph talked about boring school stuff, then we watched a movie, and everyone went home." "Did I drink?" "Oh, yes. I really think you should take it easy on the wine," I said with a smile. I felt terrible. Michael put a hand to his temple. "No wonder I have a slight headache." "What?" I asked. It was obvious he had something else on his mind. "Nothing. Never mind." That explains why I can't remember. Or maybe it's just I'm getting old, he finally said. Michael took a step towards the door. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes. By the way, Claudia, I'm sorry about Christopher. I wanted to forget that name. I wished he hadn't reminded me. I really wanted it to be true, but... I nodded. I've already moved on. Can we just not speak about it? Forgive me. Sure. Michael, thank you for being there. I felt I owed it to him to ease his worries. John is picking me up for school today, I added. I knew it would be all right. He liked John. I could feel the warmth come over him whenever we spoke of him. He knew John was someone I desperately needed in my life right now. Not a problem, Michael said, turning away from me. I am thinking of coming in late anyway. Strangest thing, the sink came clogged overnight and the dishwasher stopped working. Not just in the kitchen, but in my bathroom, too. Yours seems fine, though. Anyway, I'm planning on getting a plumber to come fix the issue before I come in this morning. I nodded, turning away from him. I didn't know what he expected me to say to all that. So, actually, John picking you up would be perfectly all right with me. I glanced back. I was delighted, but trying not to show it. After all, I felt guilty for the sink and dishwasher being the way they were. Oh, okay, I simply managed, pushing a strand of my hair back. You'll be in after that, though, right? I asked, looking up at him innocently. Yes, I should be in later in the morning. John was picking me up, and I couldn't wait to see him again. I wondered if he could feel it. You're glowing, Miss Bell, his mental voice teased. I laughed out loud. Michael glanced back. I tucked back my lip. You too, Mr. Slater, I thought to John. I'll be there soon, baby, I heard his voice say again. I'm hoping the plumber finishes quickly. I hate missing work, especially with the teachers testing. Have you given much thought to when you want to go shopping for a dress for prom? I stared up at him, a bit surprised at the mention of prom. Was I hearing him right? He wanted to take me dress shopping? Not really, I said honestly as I walked toward the bathroom. With so much going on, I had completely forgotten. Well, you should. That is, unless you plan to go with John. I can certainly understand that, Michael grinned. I nodded. Speaking of John, I have to get dressed. He'll be here soon. I'll think about it, though, okay? Michael nodded. Well, go on then. Hurry down. Oh, and try not to flush the toilet, Michael reminded, looking at the clock on my bookshelf. But I thought you said mine was okay. Michael blinked, thinking about it again. I did, didn't I? Okay, well, never mind, I suppose. Go on and get dressed, Michael said, stepping to the doorway and disappearing from my bedroom door. I hurried into the bathroom and splashed some water on my face. Then I started brushing my teeth. I toweled off, walked out of the bathroom, and grabbed a few of my things from the dresser. I hurried and grabbed my jeans and a blouse from the closet. I got halfway dressed in the closet. I came out and sat on the bed and started putting on my socks. I put my shoes on and grabbed a brush on the dresser. Just as I started brushing my hair, I felt him tugging at me before I heard the doorbell. Ready, baby? I'm here. John? He's here already? I bit my lower lip, filled with excitement, and hurried. Damn it! I put the brush down and looked over at my complexion in the mirror, grabbing my lip balm from the top of the dresser. Michael called for me from downstairs. I'm coming! I yelled back, putting on a loose black shirt over the gray top I was wearing. I looked in the mirror again. It would have to do. It wasn't like he was dating me for my style sense. I'm not now, he mentally teased. Come down, I miss you. My face turned scarlet. He must have the watch off slightly. I grinned, putting on the lip balm, and hurried, grabbing my book bag from the side of the bed. I checked for my iPod inside and made sure I had a good book to read. I doubted I would do any reading or listening to music while at school, but better safe than sorry. I realized how happy I had been lately. I had never felt so alive and at peace. John sensed it, and he sent those vibes right back. I feel the same, baby. Now come down so I can tell you that in person. I went to the top of the stairs and saw him standing in the foyer next to Michael. A rush of desire glowed from my cheeks long before he caught sight of me. He smiled very handsomely when he saw me. God, I loved that smile. "Good morning, Miss Bell," John politely said. A lovely shade of red colored my cheeks again as I took the last step. "Good morning, John," I softly whispered. I wanted to wrap my arms around him, but with Michael nearby, I was suddenly embarrassed. John leaned forward and kissed my lips. It didn't surprise me that he was daring and bold in Michael's presence. He was, after all, a big, dangerous hunter, and I was his prey. He wrinkled his slim lip and his brow curved. "Prey?" he asked in a mental voice that was becoming as familiar as my own. John put out his arm. I slipped my hand under his forearm, and we walked out the door. "Have a nice day. Drive safely," Michael said. I was hoping he wouldn't say something to embarrass me in front of John, but he only asked about last night. "John, before you leave, may I ask—" He stopped. John froze and looked back at him. I knew almost immediately. "Last night? It's the darndest thing. I can't remember anything." John wrinkled his lip. "Really? I knew he was trying to stall. Well, we'd had a lovely time. Dinner was amazing. I don't think I remember ever having such a delicious dish. Joseph, by the way, said your enchiladas were really authentic, and he's eaten in many Mexican restaurants. Oh, he's also talked about the evaluations you were discussing, but I'll let him tell you about that. That stuff I have no clue about. However, we all had a wonderful time." Michael looked far more confused than before. "I need to stop drinking," he mumbled. "Or maybe it's just age catching up with me?" "Oh, sir, don't worry. You were nothing but a generous and great host. We really enjoyed our time here." Michael touched his head again. "You okay, sir?" John asked. Michael nodded, brushing away his concerns. "Just a bit of a headache. Must be the wine," he reasoned. I pulled at John's arm. He grinned and winked at me when Michael was not looking. I liked our little secret, but at the same time I felt bad for Michael. I grabbed the lunch bag from Michael's extended hand and hurried out the door with John walking beside me. Michael waved at both of us. I leaned closer to John as we walked together toward his car. "I feel bad," I whispered to him. "It's best this way, Miss Bell." "I know, I just want to protect him. I hate lying to him since he's been nothing but kind. And he knows about my gift. I feel like I'm lying to him when I don't tell him what's happening." "Well, can you imagine how I feel? He trusts me with your safety and doesn't know the truth about who I am. It feels just as bad, if not worse." "But I trust you, John. That's all that matters to me." John smiled as I pulled him closer. "By the way, I didn't mention Mr. Claypool, Mr. Vasquez, or Miss Stevens being at the dinner last night, just in case." He nodded. "That was smart. Less of a threat they'll exchange stories with one another." He quickly changed the subject. "So, he packs you a lunch?" I wrinkled the side of my lip, feeling childish. "Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing." John smiled again. "No, actually, that was very kind of him." I thought about it. John had never had anyone pack him a lunch before, or parents he could call his own, and here I was complaining about Michael. He was right. I assumed Dr. Nicholson would never pack him a lunch for one of his school missions. "No, he wouldn't," John admitted silently. He seemed amused at the very thought. It was kind of funny to see his visualization. I gazed at him. Since when had he started answering the questions inside my head? John looked over at me. "I'm not sure how I'm doing that, but I can hear you perfectly clearly when I lower the frequency of the watch. I think we're getting far too keen to one another. I like it." My heart raced. "Me too," I said in his head. He kissed my forehead. John opened the door to his car for me, and I climbed in as he walked around the other end and climbed into the driver's side. As he got in, I noticed how compact the car was, and although John was slightly taller, it seemed he could still fit quite well in the front seat of the vehicle without a problem. As he settled in, he looked over at me with a slight grin on his face. He turned on the engine, put the car into gear, and we sped off from the side of the curve.